the last class, we have learned about the local defense mechanism and the immunity system. Now just try to recall that. In the immune system, we have learned that whenever our body will be exposed to foreign substances, like microorganisms, viruses, bacteria, or whenever we will be exposed to antigen, our body will produce antibodies. Clear? So it's example over here. So whenever our body will be exposed to antigen, our body will produce antibodies. So in today's class, we will learn about antibodies, here, and characteristics, feature. Okay? So immunity in our body is mainly provided by the formation of antibodies, and these antibodies are mainly produced by the help of lymphocytes, Lymphocytes. So lymphocytes will help in the formation of antibodies. But what are lymphocytes? They are mainly a type of white blood cells, WBC. Okay, so lymphocytes, they are mainly the type of WBC. But there are different kinds of WBC. So lymphocytes is one of the type of WBC that will help in the formation of antibodies. Clear? So what are the different types of WBC in general? So when we try to remember the type of WBC, just remember carefully. Never let monkey eat. Okay, we are going to discuss about the type of WBC. This is very important for you to know. So first one, you just try to remember a simple sentence. Never let monkey eat. So over here, we are trying to remember the type of WBC. Clear? So from the word N stands for neutrophil. Clear? L means lymphocyte. Clear? So lymphocyte is a type of WBC. M, monocyte. E for eosinophil, and V star stands for basophil. Yeah, so these are the different types of WBC. So how to remember these types? Simple. Never let monkey eat. So N for neutrophil, L for lymphocytes, M for monocyte, E for eosinophil, and E for basophil. These are different types of WBC which present in our body fluids that will help in providing immunity in our body, or that will help in providing the defense system in our body. And many lymphocytes are also two types. You will see it, we call it B lymphocyte and the T lymphocytes. Okay, and so these are different types of WBC in our body that will help in providing immunity. Alright, and mainly antibodies are produced whenever our body are exposed to antigens. There, and these antibodies are produced by the help of lymphocytes or type of WBC. Just try to remember this. What are the types of WBC present in our body? Okay, so now what are antibodies? Right, we know that they provide body immunity. They are produced by the lymphocytes or type of WBC whenever our body are exposed to antigen. So what is the proper definition of antibody? So over here. So antibodies are special chemicals found in the blood which act against the germs or their secretions. So what are they? So antibodies are mainly these special chemicals which are present in our blood. Alright. And these antibodies, they will fight against the germs or their secretion. This secretion means the secretions which are secreted by the germs. So antibodies. I recall the meaning of antibodies. In the last class we have learned that antibodies. The word anti means against. The word anti means against. Here, bodies means not our body. Antibody are not against our body. But over here, the bodies means against the antigen, against the foreign microorganisms that enter our body from the outside environmental conditions. So over here, bodies means you can write against antigen or foreign substances, or can say foreign microorganisms. So whenever these antigens will enter our body will produce the antibodies which will kill the antigen, which will kill the germs and also their secretions. Here, so antibody will help in providing immunity in our body. So can I write down the meaning of antibody? Here, copy it down. Okay, next one. Let's see the characteristics of antigen. Alright, so what are the features of antibodies? Okay. So first features of antibodies are mentioned over here, AB. So AB means antibody. Okay, generally you should write it capital A, small b. Clear? Antibody. So antibody are proteins and they belong to a class of proteins called immunoglobulins. Clear? So antibody are proteins and they belong to a class of proteins called immunoglobulins. That's why we write it down as capital I and small letter G. Ig means immunoglobulins. Clear? Next one. They are produced by the specialized lymphocyte, means WBC. Whenever we are exposed to antigen. Clear? So whenever we are exposed to antigen, antibody are produced by the help of lymphocytes, which are the type of WBC. Next point number 3. Our body can make an unlimited variety of different antibodies. We have got different types of antibody. Okay, we can say we have got IgA. Okay, then we have got IgM. Okay, IgG. So these are the different types of antibody which are produced in our body by the help of lymphocytes. So over here, Ig means immunoglobulin. Remember, Ig means what? Immunoglobulin. So IgA, IgG, IgM, IgD. These are the different types of antibodies which are present or which are produced in our body by the lymphocytes. Clear? Next one. Antibody are specific. What does specific means? They are particular for only a particular type of antigens. Clear? So antibody will not work against all types of antigen, but it will be functional. It will work against only a particular type of antigen only. So only one kind of antibody act against one particular type of antigen only. So for one antigen, we will find one particular antibody. So one antibody will not be functional for all the different kinds of antigen. So for one particular antigen, we will find one particular antibody. That's why antibody are specific. Clear? Next point. Antibody recognizes its particular antigen. Now since antibody is specific, so antibody will recognize its particular antigen. Now after recognizing the antigen, it will go and bind to the antigen, will make it harmless or will destroy it and remove it from the body. So meaning antibody will destroy the antigen and it will remove that antigen from our body. Next one. Some antibodies are present in the blood of some people from the very birth. Meaning is that from the time when we were in the mother's uterus, in the mother's womb, we are getting the antibody from the mother's body through through the help of placenta. That means from the time of birth only, we or our body or our blood, it contains the antibody which provides immunity. Remember, we are on a passive immunity, where the ready-made antibody are transferred from one individual to another individuals. Next one. Immunity provided by an antibody on exposure to antigen may be for a short period. That means whenever the antibody will be produced in our body on exposure to antigens, alright, that immunity can last for a short period of time. For example, in case of common cold, alright, the immunity which is provided by the formation of immunity, by the formation of antibody will last for a short period of time. Or it can last for a longer period of time also. So immunity can be developed for a short period of time in case of cold, alright? Or it can be developed for a longer period of time in case of smallpox or in case of measles. Clear? So these are the different characteristic features of antibody. Hope it's clear for you. So remember that antibody are specific. Only one antibody will act against a particular antigen only. And immunity which is provided by the antibody can last for a short period of time or it can last for a longer period of time. Now, we'll just try to make a recap. Alright, our body immune systems, defense systems. First, there was local defense systems where it will try to prevent the entry of germs, barrier system. Now, how does it act? How does the barrier system come into action? First one, prevent the entry mechanically. They will try to prevent the entry of germs into our body. How? By the outer of the skin, by the blood clot, any clot, hairs on the skin and in nose, cilia in the windpipe. So these particular structures like the skin, fortune of blood clot, whenever we used to have a cut, then the blood clot will be formed. Okay, so all these things they will try to prevent the entry of germs within our body. Now, prevent entry by killing. The sweat gland sweats, the salivary gland will produce saliva. The HCl means hydrochloric acid in the stomach, mucus in the windpipe, foot canal, tears glands will produce tears and nasal secretion. All this will prevent the entry by killing, which will help in the killing of germs by chance if they enter into our body. We are talking about the local defense mechanism. So is entering. If they enter our body, if the germs are entered our body, then we will go for coughing, sneezing, vomiting and diarrhea. So this will remove the foreign microorganisms from our body. So this is for the local defense mechanism. But by chance, if this local defense system will not be enough to handle those foreign microorganisms, then the second system will come into action, which is called the immune system or the immune response. And this will come into action by the formation of antibody and the killer cell. This will destroy the invading microorganisms or the foreign microorganisms. And probably phagocyte WBC income means to eat. But WBC will also eat the invading microorganisms. And at the same time, it also produce the antibody and the killer cells. And remember that I told you one thing, that during vaccinations, this WBC will only produce the antibody, but it will also produce the memory cells. And remember that, okay? Because now we'll discuss about vaccination and immunization. So we have to remember about the antibody and the memory cells. Clear? So these are the specific features of our body defense system. But there's a particular type of disease where our body immune system will fail to function, will not work smoothly or efficiently. So condition when the immune system fails. Alright, in which they will not be functional, in which they will not be able to kill the viruses or the foreign microorganisms. So in what type of disease our immune systems will be a total failure? Mainly in XAVIER'S. It stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is caused by a virus called HIV virus called human immunodeficiency virus. Actually, the virus is called retroviruses. Alright, retroviruses, retroviruses. That because it's the HIV/AIDS. HIV means human immunodeficiency virus. So just look at the word immunodeficiency. That means over here the immunity or the immune systems will be very, very weak. Alright, will not be able to fight with the foreign microorganisms. Over here the human immune systems will be very, very weak. Which will lead to the disease called HIV/AIDS. Now this disease, alright, this particular disease is caused by the virus HIV, which will attack the cells of the immune system, mainly the lymphocytes. Clear? And whenever this virus will attack the cells of the immune systems, then remember lymphocytes, which type of WBC, and what is type of lymphocytes? Try to collect that. There are two types of lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Okay, that is that. In the first one, we have discussed about the type of WBC, right? And the type of WBC, we have learned that lymphocyte, the type of WBC, which are two types, B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes. So generally, we have got two types of lymphocytes. We will write it B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, it will help in the production of antibody. Antibody provides immunity. And T lymphocytes will help the B lymphocytes for the formation of antibody. Clear? So this particular HIV virus, it will go and attack the T lymphocytes. Alright, so HIV virus, this HIV virus will go and attack the T lymphocytes. Alright? Now, when the HIV virus will attack the T lymphocytes, the number of T lymphocytes keeps on decreasing. Yeah. So when the HIV virus goes and attack the T lymphocytes, the number of T lymphocytes keeps on decreasing. You can see over here reduction in T cells. Clear? So the T lymphocytes keeps on decreasing in number, and when there will be no T lymphocytes, then these B lymphocytes cannot produce antibodies. In the absence of T lymphocytes, B lymphocytes will not be able to produce antibody, and in the absence of antibody, our body immunity will be very, very weak. Clear? Now, and in that case, we will not suffer from the AIDS, but in that case, a different types of severe infections can also develop in our body. So that particular individuals will be very, very prone to infections. Clear? So in this particular condition, in HIV/AIDS, our body immune systems will fail to function. Hope it is clear for you. So remember the type of lymphocytes and the particular function. So B lymphocytes will help in the formation of antibody, and T lymphocytes will help the B lymphocyte to form antibodies. For the HIV/AIDS, HIV virus will go and attack the T lymphocytes. The number of T lymphocytes keeps on decreasing, and in the absence of T lymphocytes, these B lymphocytes will not be able to produce the antibody, and as a result, that individual's immunity power will be very, very weak, and that individual will be very, very prone to severe infections. Clear? Okay. Now next one, we'll go through it. So next, we'll discuss about vaccination and immunization. Clear? So kindly go through your textbook also. So what is vaccination? Simply in general term, when we talk about vaccination, we will say simply to take vaccine. It's called vaccinations. Alright? Now we'll see what is vaccination and what is immunizations. Alright, both are different terms. Yeah? So vaccination is the introduction of any kind of date. See very carefully, any kind of date or weakened germs into the body of a living being to develop immunity or resistance against the respective disease or diseases. So what is vaccination? During vaccination, alright, we will introduce any kind that means we are taking the microbes during vaccinations. We or our body is taking the microbes. That microbes can be dead, or the strength, the power of that microbe will be very, very weak. Alright. So what is that? When we are taking that microbes which are dead or which are very, very weak in power, our body will develop immunity or resistance against that particular microbe or against the disease which will be caused by the microbe. Clear? So that is known as vaccination. So what is vaccination? With the introduction of weakened germs or the dead germs or the microbes in our body, so that our body will develop the immunity or the resistance to the disease or the diseases which are caused by the microbes. For example, polio vaccine. We are taking the microbe, we are taking the virus that causes polio. We are not taking the medicine against the polio during vaccination, but we are taking in the microbes that causes polio. For the strength, the power of that microbe will be very, very weak. Clear? We will be able to trigger the production of antibody in our body. Clear? So with vaccination, there will be development of immunity. So we will try to develop the immunity. So what is immunization? Developing resistance to disease-producing germs or the toxins by the introduction of killed germs or germ substances to induce the production of specific antibodies. So what does immunization mean? Think very carefully. During vaccination, we are taking the dead or weakened germs. Clear? So after administering or introducing those germs into our body will develop antibodies. It will develop immunity, or it will develop resistance to the disease or the diseases which are caused by the microbes. So therefore, after vaccination, the immunity or the resistance which are developed in our body against the germs or the microbes or against the disease which are caused by the microbes is known as immunization. So development of immunity against a particular microbe or against the diseases by the production of antibodies is known as immunization. Clear? So vaccination and immunization are different terms. So simply in vaccinations, we are taking the microbes which are dead or which are very, very weak. Clear? And after taking that microbes, our body will develop immunity against those microbes or against the diseases, which is called immunization. Clear? So now what is vaccine? Introduced during vaccination. The material means those weakened germs or the killed germs which are introduced during vaccination is known as vaccine. Clear? So the material that's introduced into the body during vaccination, the killed germs or the weakened germs which are being introduced in the body during vaccination is called the vaccine. And scientifically, this particular technique of introducing those germs into our body is known as prophylaxis. Clear? So now we'll talk about the different categories of vaccines. So there are generally 4 categories of vaccines. First one is killed germs, where the germs are totally killed. Number 2, living weakened germs, where the strength of the germs will be very, very weak. Third one, living fully poisonous germs, and last category is toxoids. So first one, let's see the killed germs, where the germs will be killed, they are not living. Okay, so in case of these killed germs vaccines, the germs which we are using during vaccinations are killed. Okay, example, TB vaccines for typhoid, some vaccines for poliomyelitis, and vaccines for rabies. So all those germs over here, they are killed. Number 2 category, living weakened germs, where the germs are living, but the strength, the power of the germs will be very, very weak. So this is the examples: vaccines for measles, BCG vaccines for tuberculosis. So these are the germs which are living, but the strength will be very, very weak. We will go into detail afterward what BCG means. Clear? Third one is living fully poisonous germs. Over here the germs will be living, alright, but they they are of full strength. Example, smallpox. Yeah, the medicine that we take for smallpox is a living, full poisonous germs. But over here, during vaccinations, we will be administered with a cowpox virus, which is similar to the virus that causes smallpox. Alright? This cowpox virus is mainly causes a disease in case of cow, but it belongs to the same family that causes the disease called smallpox. Clear? So when we take the cowpox virus during vaccination for smallpox, our body will develop a small pustule. A single pustule means, just think of a pimple with a pus in it, PUS pus in it. Clear? So that will be enough to trigger an immune response in our body. Our body will develop the antibody against this cowpox virus, or you can say it will develop the antibody, and it will develop immunity against the smallpox. Nowadays, it's saying, it said that smallpox has been completely eradicated from our country. So nowadays, the vaccination is not been given. Toxoids. What are toxoids? The harmful toxins, means poisons, which are produced by the microorganisms like bacteria, viruses. Yeah, those harmful chemicals will be modified. Those harmful poisons, those harmful toxins will be modified chemically to make it less harmful or to make it non-toxic. So those particular chemicals or those particular toxins which have been modified to make it less toxic or to make it non-toxic is known as toxoids. Let's talk. Inactivated toxins, meaning of these toxins will be inactivated, they will be less harmful, they will be non-toxic. Second, by bacteria, example, diphtheria and tetanus. First one, these toxins are made harmless by the addition of dilute formalin, yet retaining the capacity to produce antibody or antitoxin. So those particular poisons or let's say toxins which are produced by the bacteria, they are made harmless or they are made non-toxic by modifying it by the addition of chemicals like formalin. Now they are known as toxins. But those particular toxins, although they are not very much toxic, but they will be able to produce the antibody, they will be able to produce the immunity in our body. So these are the four categories of vaccines. Now let's see the national immunization schedule. Age and vaccination, they have to go through it. Okay? At the age of 3 to 12 months, vaccinations will be done DP3, 3 doses at interval of 46 weeks, polio oral taken from mouth, 3 doses at interval of 46 weeks, BCG intradermal of the skin. 9 to 15 months, measles vaccines will be given, 1 dose. Next one, at the age of 18 to 24 months, DPT will be given, polio will be given. 5 to 6 years, DT vaccines, typhoid vaccine will be given. 10 years, tetanus will be given, and typhoid vaccines will be given. 16 years, tetanus toxoids and typhoid vaccines will be given. Clear? But in mothers during pregnancy, the vaccines are given. First one is over here, immunized previously. 1 booster dose of tetanus toxoids, preferably 4 weeks before the expected date of delivery, and immunized 2 doses of tetanus toxoids. The first dose between 16 and 24 weeks, and the second dose between 24 and 30 weeks of pregnancy. This is the immunization schedule. So what does the ABBC stands for? DPT means diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. DT means diphtheria and tetanus, and BCG means bacillus subcutaneous and urine. So kindly remember the abbreviations of DPT, DT, and BCG, and kindly go through the national immunization schedule. Alright, for providing vaccinations at different age intervals. Clear? So this was for today. In the next class, we'll talk about antibiotics, antiseptics. Clear? So till then, stay safe, stay home, and keep on studying.